Good morning. Well, thank you for being here. If anyone ever continues to have questions about what's going on in Syracuse and how we're really moving, just look in front of me and in back of me, as this site is going to be completely transparent for this location, for this neighborhood. Here today to really talk about public safety. We had a tough weekend, Saturday and Sunday. Men and women of the Syracuse Police Department actively investigating everything that happened over this weekend. And knowing our police department and all the tools accessible to them, they will absolutely cut down what's going on and how we can move forward to hold folks accountable for violence in our community. Which is why today I'm talking about my platform for public safety. Overseeing public safety, the police department, the fire department, and all the work that these great men and women do in our community. I am absolutely honored by the presence of the 2023 New York State Chief of the Year, Fire Chief of the Year, Michael Monds. Michael Monds is a homegrown product of Syracuse, worked his ranks up through the fire department, and is here today to stand with me because of the great work that we've done together for the fire department, for public safety. Not only the fire department, but our ambulance collaboration with our ambulance partners. We're standing in front of 1153. It's going to be the new home of the public safety staff for the city of Syracuse. They deserve a 21st century home for 21st century departments. And we're really excited. By January-ish of next year, we should be moving in here. Construction is always interesting, but we're confident in that. And I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to their opportunity to really hone their craft and provide service to our community and enhance this section of our city as well. We're really looking at public safety. While crime data is absolutely down from the previous year, people have to feel safe. And this weekend rattled people, rattled me. Phone rang too many times, too many incidences going on in rapid fire. I'm really proud of the work that our public safety individuals do. I'm committed to continuing to support financially, through training, through equipment, both of our law enforcement and our firefighting departments, as well as the Mayor's Office to Reduce Gun Violence. Through my work with New York State DCJS, we're underway right now working with a program called Exalt. It will be working with young people who are in the judicial system to help them find a better path away from the road that gun violence too many times leads to, which is death or jail. Working right now with DCJS to bring that $1 million program to the city of Syracuse with the Exalt program, who is nationally known and works out of New York City. And so we're really pleased to have them become part of the Syracuse family. With that, I want to take a moment to not introduce, he's known to everyone because he's an amazing leader in New York State in fire prevention and fire work and fire delivery amongst his peers and amongst fire departments throughout the state of New York. Fire Chief Michael Monds.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Owens. Good morning, everybody. And today, I'm not in my current capacity as a fire chief. I'm here as an individual, Michael Monds. And today, I stand here proudly to endorse Deputy Mayor Sharon Owens for the next mayor of the city of Syracuse. I first met Sharon in her role as Deputy Mayor, and we talked about the work she has done over the last 4 decades. And her resume speaks for itself. Sharon has dedicated herself to serving the community in most ways people have never saw. from her work with youth and families at the Dunbar Center, the Peace Incorporated, and the Southwest Community Center, to her efforts at home headquarters and her past role as the city's Deputy Commissioner of Housing, Sharon has worked across every sector with every demographic in this city. She has dealt with challenges that we have faced in our city for decades. And the work she has done over the last 7.5 years as the Deputy Mayor has left each of those challenges in a better place. She has walked beside the people facing housing insecurity, fought for families affected by behavioral health challenges, and helped create opportunities for those who needed a pathway when there was not one. She doesn't just know the issues, Sharon knows the people. And in her role as Deputy Mayor, what many people don't realize is that Sharon is directly responsible for overseeing the police and fire department, along with the neighborhood and business development and the code enforcement. That means public safety and the community's well-being run directly through Sharon's office. Now let me tell you what I personally witnessed with Sharon, day in and day out. Sharon makes decisions the right way. She brings in the people affected by those decisions. She invites subject matter experts to the table. She listens. She asks the hard questions. She evaluates the risks and the rewards, and she critically thinks about the big picture and the impact that safety, not just the people doing the work, but the constituents we serve. But what makes her decision-making and leadership style truly stand out is that when it comes to public safety, and I've seen this firsthand, her question is always, how will this affect your firefighters? How will this affect our first responders? And how will this decision impact the people we are sworn to protect? That's not just leadership. That's the kind of heart and accountability you want as a mayor. When our public safety departments faced recent budget cuts, Sharon was one of the strongest voices defending what those cuts meant, not just for us as professionals, but identifying the safety impacts and reductions of services affecting our community. She didn't stay silent. She stood up and she spoke out because she took the time to educate herself and to understand the impacts to the cuts of everyone involved. And her passion for the people of our city spoke loud and clear to me. And that was the moment that I needed to make sure that all the people in our city knew the type of person that Sharon is and what she stands for. Our public safety departments face many challenges that are not unique in our city. I feel that we do an extremely good job of providing these services, and Sharon has worked with us and the community leaders and the department heads to make sure the work that we do meets all the necessary industry standards nationwide for our community. The vision of 21st century policing enacted by the Syracuse Police Department came to Syracuse before the George Floyd incident, before it was mandated, and because Sharon and the leaders of SBD saw the need. I have a tremendous amount of respect for the work that our police officers and our police department do in our city. And their work has inspired me to rethink what 21st century firefighting should look like in our city. And Sharon has supported me in updating all of our policies to match the reality of today's fire service emergencies. From the new wood frame construction that we face as firefighters that used to be made out of steel and concrete that is now made out of wood that burns a little bit more worse, to the synthetic materials in homes that burn faster and hotter than ever that our firefighters face every day, to ensuring that we provide the resources to answer the record-breaking amount of calls for service our department responds to. Sharon has stood as a great leader and partner and supported our initiatives to make our department and our job safer for the firefighters and the community. With Sharon's support, we created the first ever training programs, ensuring equity, diversity, and inclusion are at the core and leadership pipeline that all firefighters have access to critical training. Our progressive training initiatives ensure that our firefighters have the skills and confidence to face any emergency. And I know these programs are working well because firefighters from around the state want to send their firefighters to Syracuse to train with us. Sharon is always my first step to secure critical resources needed to make sure our firefighters have what they need to do their job safely and professionally. Every time I bring a need to her, her response is consistent. How will this protect your firefighters? She says that repeatedly to me. And how will this better serve our community? That's leadership. She holds herself accountable. She holds all of our departments accountable. She holds me accountable. And she does it with professionalism, compassion, and a clear vision to protect the people and workers of our city. The challenges that our city faced 7.5 years ago are in a much better place because of the work Sharon has done to improve those challenges. And there is nobody better to continue to make sure that things work great for all who live and work in this city. So today, I'm asking you to join me in supporting a proven leader, Sharon Owens. She has the experience, the heart, and she knows the processes to lead our city forward. I trust her with the safety of my firefighters, and I trust her with the future of Syracuse. So let's make her, Sharon Owens, our next mayor. Thank you. Woo.
I always want to be remembered and judged by the company I keep, and I keep good company with Michael Monds. He's an amazing leader in this community, dedicated servant, and just an all-around just good guy. I'll take questions now.
The Exalt program, can you kind of give a little more detail on, especially how is it different than Safer Streets, or is it a continuation of Safer Streets?
Exalt is a program that was implemented in New York City. It is a relationship and a program that the Commissioner Rosado knows from the Commissioner of DCJS. Because of the relationship that I have with the Commissioner, the DCJS understands funds and credentials law enforcement across the state. The Commissioner Rosado thinks like I do when it comes to also the community violence intervention needs as well, juvenile justice, that type of thing. So she and I have developed a relationship over many years now that I've been in City Hall. And she has funded programs now, the RISE program. We did a press conference, I believe, early this year, late last year, at the One Park Place facility, to fund that program over multiple years. When she looked at the success of Exalt, she thought of Syracuse, and thought of Syracuse because of the relationship I developed with her and the work we were doing. And I think Safer Streets really had no small place to play in that decision, because she saw that we were implementing and attempting to implement other methods by which we can address particularly gun violence crime, but also juvenile crimes that our juveniles are involved in. So Exalt is very, very micro-focused on adjudicating youth, those that are in the juvenile justice system. When they came to town, we spent 2 days meeting with stakeholders. That was law enforcement, probation. She met with judges. She met with social service agencies, the director and her team. They were recently in town again for the day that the commissioner was in town to just talk about initiatives at the state level and commitments from the governor at the state level. So Syracuse is where the commissioner selected for Exalt. I think that speaks a lot to what they see us doing in this community to address particularly juvenile-related violent crime. And so I'm excited. So we're in a process now. You get the commitment, but then you have to go through all of the back office preparing. The next step, once we're able to identify the scope and the budget is $1 million to go before the council. Not quite prepared for that yet, but that will be soon, because we have to receive the funds from New York State and then begin implementing. Exalt has already come to town to scope out spaces where they can be to have. When I went, I took a trip to New York City to actually visit their location, and they create this amazing atmosphere of excellence for their students. And she understands group dynamics, gang dynamics, territorial dynamics, so she already knows she has to have a centrally located space. So they're exploring that now in Syracuse. They're committed to being here, and I'm excited to have yet another tool in Syracuse. Again, this is funded completely by DCJS. So it is an amazing opportunity for our community to have this program here.
Do you expect to get that to council before the end of this year?
Oh, yes. We're hoping to get that done. They take a break in July, somewhere this summer. They definitely get it before then.
Your thoughts on the Office of Reducing Gun Violence, the mayor's office? Pat Hogan said he would get rid of it. Do you think it would limit
You know, the interesting thing about that question is that there is a standard set for the mayor's office to reduce gun violence that I don't know is set for any other department in the city of Syracuse. It is attempting to identify other methods of reducing gun violence that have not been tried in our city. And so as we identify a pilot, we glean from that pilot to find out what worked and what did not work, and then we try to adapt it again. I'm fully committed to that program. I'm fully committed to the leadership of that program. Why? Because Lateef Johnson Kinsey not only was on the ground with trauma response for many years, he buried too many victims of gun violence. So he is really engaged. Just this weekend, when we think about the gun violence that took place, it is not, the mayor's office to reduce gun violence is not about safer streets. Safer streets was an initiative. The mayor's office to reduce gun violence, for example, over the course of this weekend, law enforcement is doing what it does to look at cameras, to identify witnesses. The mayor's office to reduce gun violence is delving into its connections on the street level to understand some of the dynamics that may have played into this shooting that went on. More importantly, to prevent and see if we can intervene for any additional retaliation, which is always the fear when it comes to gun violence in the city of Syracuse. So I'm committed. I'm committed to continue. The mayor's office to reduce gun violence will work directly with Exalt. It is all a multifaceted methodology to finding the right connection, the right recipe of solutions. It is interesting because there are other projects in the city of Syracuse that have been tried that did not do exactly what they needed to do, and we adapted them and moved them into another evolution. That's what's going to happen with the mayor's office to reduce gun violence.
Do you have any sense of the numbers for Exalt as far as how many?
They do cohorts of young people and they pay those young people. The funding also, it's a program that it brings them in and provides them stipends to engage in the program. That has always been some controversy here. If we're asking young people to set aside a life that they only know, what are we going to give them in response to asking them to put down the gun or turn away from a life? Many of them are engaged in criminal activity for financial reasons as well. So it's stipends, but it's stipends for participation in the program. The cohorts run with groups of about 20. They probably will do in this year, probably get maybe 2 or 3 done this year. And it is really, they define it as a workforce training program. And that is the key part of it. And that's why I'm really excited about it, because it takes the workforce initiatives I'm working on right now and pairs it with the juvenile justice crime prevention efforts that go on.
So each one runs about a couple months, or how?
They run about 12 weeks, 14 weeks. Again, they're going to adapt. We're not New York City, so they're going to adapt to what we need in Syracuse. And so that is what we'll be preparing, but we need to get the contracting done first.
What's your thought on the fence by the rescue mission, and how do you deal with that population, a budding one that's growing?
Yeah, the fence by the rescue mission, coming out of COVID, if you remember when the collapse happened on the rail bridge into Clinton, right after that, the rail rebuilt it, and then we went into COVID. As we came out of COVID, we saw really a surge in the number of people that were really in that location. I talked to some, as the Mike said, I was trying to get my hand around what was going on, and so I was talking to some professionals in the mental health and substance use field, and I was saying, what is going on right now? Many of them explained to me that individuals who may have been on the path to sobriety or mental health therapy, it is two-part essence. It is the medical piece of it, medicine perhaps, but it really is the counseling and the socialization is another big part of recovery. And through COVID and after COVID, we lost that opportunity because people couldn't gather. And even after 22 into 21, people still could not gather. And so I think a lot of people who are on the track of sobriety really that was erupted abruptly, which leads to the number of people. It is a perfect storm of the condition that we see all over, not just Syracuse, but all over neighborhoods in Syracuse, but all over this country, of the numbers of homeless individuals, and in our community, particularly families. So we've tried multiple tactics to try to curtail the amount of people that are congregating there, because it's not healthy. I walked down there last week with members of the fire department, the police department, our DPW department, just to scope out what was going on. Talked to some good folks who just had a lawn chair out underneath a tree, a little shrub, to get a little bit of shade down there. And while I was down there, 3 fights broke out. So it just is dangerous, because there are so many dynamics of the individuals that are down there. And the other thing is that, each shelter, homeless shelter, has its own practices. The rescue mission, once you can sleep, you have to leave. Many people don't have the capacity or the skill set to do anything after they leave the shelter. And so they hang out down there. The biggest reason for the cording off of the street is the car traffic that was coming through there that was drug dealing, and people who are taking advantage of the people who are struggling down there. Simultaneously to doing that, and all of this, again, we are trying different initiatives. I think sometimes people think that government should never try anything. Well, you have to try something to see if it's going to work. And so part of this is not to cage in people, but to cordon off an area to stop some of that car traffic. Simultaneously, the county is working right now to identify space for what they're calling a cooling and warming station that will be open year-round so people can have a place to go. Many people who are at the Rescue Mission or Catholic Charity Shelter or go to the Samaritan Center don't have the capacity, they don't have the skill set, or they need the treatment to be able to go into the workforce. Have been kicked out of the housing that they had because of many variables. And so that warming, cooling space will be an opportunity for those folks that you see sitting there to have a place that they can be. They won't be able to sleep there, but it will be a space where you can just congregate, provided with services and information there with dignity, instead of just being on the sidewalk in sweltering heat, subjected to drug dealers and violence. And so it is a temporary measure. We actually found that when we gated off the actual space immediately around the rail, that really curtailed a lot of traffic down there. So we're going to change the fencing so it doesn't look like construction fencing. We're going to use the funding that we received through the downtown revitalization funding. That location was designated for some improvements. So to artwork and different kind of fencing around that area. And then we are going to, with the county's help, and I'm thankful for them, implement that warming cooling station that we can relocate people for the time that they're not in the shelter to some place that has dignity and resources and care.
So it sounds like the subsequent housing or fencing will be more permanent.
At least the fencing around the rail station, underneath the railroad. Because if you remember, we used to have people there were bollards out there at one point, tried that. They were just glorified benches, people were just hanging out. The most disturbing part are the fights. You had a murder, the young woman that was shot. People potentially ODing. How many responses do you have to that location, Chief?
Dozens.
Every day. Where people ODing, people being in physical distress. When I was down there, the ambulance was coming. When I was down there. So we have to identify a space where individuals can just be able to congregate, because it's human nature. I just want to be sure, it is not an effort to just get rid of the homeless. That's ridiculous. That capacity for the city, we need to identify the best way to serve. And the county serves as the lead for that, because they provide the services to all of the shelters. And I cannot get off this topic without saying this. We feel this in the city, because the city is the only entity in our entire county that really takes on this responsibility. The Civic Center is downtown. Every shelter is in the city of Syracuse. Supportive housing is not built outside of Syracuse, only the city of Syracuse. And so because we are rich with services, people who are not even from the city are in the city and looking for those services or looking for the other vices that unfortunately they may be addicted to.
The warming cooling center, you said they're scouting potential locations. Is there a general area where you?
Yeah, they're looking in that general area.
In the rescue mission area?
The rescue mission area or somewhere immediately around there. We haven't solidified where, so I don't want to say where, but we have to. Again, it is. I know there was a letter to the editor this weekend in the paper about very much what I'm talking about right now. Just the responsibility that the city is taking out for the entire county and the region. There are people that I've talked to down there who are here from Fulton or Oswego. I mean, really, and it is the responsibility of our entire region to care for our homeless, not just the city of Syracuse. Good? Thank you all. Thank you for coming.